All right, we're going to be looking at rating NFL teams today, or we could really do this with any sport, but we're just going to use NFL. So the first thing that you're going to have to do is go to profootballreference.com. Make sure you've got a spreadsheet open, Excel or Google Sheets, and we're going to go to seasons, and we're going to click on 2018 schedule and results. That will take you to this page here where we want the week by week games. We want all the scores. So we're going to choose the share and more, and we're going to get the table as a CSV for Excel. And we're going to highlight all of the games all the way down through the Super Bowl. We're going to copy that. And then we're going to come over to Excel. We're going to do a paste special and text. Click OK. Obviously, we don't want it to look like that, so we need to do our text to columns. So data, text to columns, next, and it is comma separated, so we want to check the comma box, and then we can click finish, and this will make it look a little bit nicer. Remember, if you want to resize the boxes, you can highlight by clicking on top, hold it down, drag it over, and then double click when you're in between two of the columns, and that will highlight things. A couple things that we're not super interested in here that we can just delete right away. I'll delete column B, column C now, the time. We'll delete this column for the box score. And then we don't need any of these columns at the end here as well after the points. So the last four columns, we can delete those. All right, so now we have all the games, and if you scroll down, you can see the weeks on the left there. It's going all the way through the Super Bowl. We're going to scroll back up to the top here, and we need to sort of reorganize this a little bit because we've got the winners on the left and the losers on the right. And what we'd really like is for the home team to be on one side and the away team to be on the other. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to highlight everything except for the first row. Remember, you can use Shift and down if you're working in Excel, and that will take you to the bottom. And we won't do the Super Bowl either because that was played at a neutral location. And we're going to do a data sort. And we're going to sort this by column D. Okay. So when we sort it by column D, all the ats come at the top, and then all of our other games come at the bottom. Okay. We've got the playoffs title in here. Don't worry about that right now. We'll deal with that a little bit later. But if we scroll back up to the top, what we can do here now is let's put the home team in column C here and the away team in column E. The problem is the New Orleans Saints, the Indianapolis Colts, the Cleveland Browns, and so on, they're home teams because it says at New Orleans, at Indianapolis. So we need to kind of switch things around here. So what we're going to do is we're going to highlight all the way down until we get to the bottom of these ats. And we're going to copy. And then we're going to go back up to the top of our document, move over here, and we're just going to paste those over here for the time being. We're going to go over to the New Orleans Saints. We're going to copy all of those. And we're going to go back to the top, and we're going to paste those where the home teams belong. And now we can come back over and we can copy these teams again and paste them under the away teams. Okay? And now you can click column H and just delete that. So we've switched it, so now we've got all the home teams on the left side, all the away teams on the right side. So now we can actually get rid of column D as well. Okay, so we'll delete column D. We still have a problem though, and that's that, well, maybe we shouldn't have gotten rid of column D yet. I'm going to undo that. Is that the points, we need to switch the points for those first sets of games that we just moved around. So we can highlight down to the bottom of our @ symbols again. We can copy that and just paste that on the other side. And now if we highlight both of those columns with the points, we just need to move them over one spot. Okay, so all the way down to the bottom of the ats, copy and paste, and now we can delete column H. Now we've got the home team's points in the first column and the away team's points in the second. So let's change this to home points and away points. Okay. All right, so now we've got all of our teams with their point values. Now we could delete column D. So I'm going to do that. And now I'm just going to highlight everything again. And I'm going to sort it by column A, smallest to largest. Okay. So now it put it back in order by week. You can see all the way down to the bottom here. These games at the bottom are a little mixed up with the playoffs. That's okay. We won't worry too much about that. What we're going to do now is we're going to come over here and I'm going to insert actually one row at the top here. So you can right click on row 1 and insert. And then I'm going to come over here to cell G2 and I'm going to type in home margin. Then in the next cell, I'm going to type in forecast and then squared error. And then in the next cell over, I'm going to go up one. I'm going to type in mean. And right below that, I'm going to type in team. Next to that, rating. And next to that, rank. Okay. And I'm just going to resize those a little bit. And now what we need to do is under the teams here, we want to get all of our teams, but only once. So since everybody played in week 1, I can just go down and I can down to the end of week 1. You can see over here, and I can copy and come over here and under team, I'm just going to do paste. And then I'm going to do the same thing with my away teams. I'm going to go down to the end of week 1. I'm going to copy, and now at the bottom of these teams here that I've already entered, I'm going to paste the rest of them. Okay. So now I've got my teams there in column J. One thing that we want to do here now is we want to calculate the home margin. Okay. So to calculate the home margin, we're just going to type in equals, and then we can click the home points minus the away points. Okay. And then remember, you can double click or just click the bottom right corner and drag it all the way down. Up above the home margin, we're going to enter in just an estimated home edge for each team. So we're going to say that the home edge is 2 points. We're going to come over here and we're going to just highlight all of our teams. And it might be a little bit easier if they were in alphabetical order. So we can just sort ascending, continue with the current selection, and now they're in alphabetical order. we're going to be entering a forecast here, but then you'll see squared error. Well, the squared error is just how much our forecast differs from our home margin. So we're going to type in equals, and then in parentheses, we can click the home margin minus the forecast, and then we're going to square that. Okay. And again, you can copy that all the way down to the bottom. Okay. So now we need to figure out what this forecast is, what this rating is. For the rating for right now, we're just going to put 12, 11 for Arizona and Atlanta. We're going to highlight those. We're going to grab the right corner. We're going to drag it down to the bottom of our teams. Okay? And that's just to get us started. To calculate the mean of those ratings, we're going to come up here to the cell above our ratings, and we're going to type in equals average. And now we can just highlight those team ratings. Obviously, these ratings don't mean much right now. We're going to run a solver to help us figure that out. Okay. We also might want to rank the teams. So we're going to type in equals rank average. We want to click the cell with the rating next to Arizona there. We want to highlight, do a comma then, and highlight all of the team ratings. Do a comma, and we want to sort that in descending order. So 0, and then close the 0, and then close the parentheses. Okay. And then you can hit enter. And Arizona should come up as number 1 right now because they have the highest rating. One thing we do need to change though is in our formula, we don't want this group of teams to change. So we need to put a $sign in front of the 3 and a $sign in front of the 34. And now we can bring that all the way down as well. Okay. So now we've got a ranking for each team. We've got some made up rating right now. We've got the average rating up here at the top. We've got a home edge that we just made up. We've got the actual home margins. We've got the squared error. So the only thing left for us to do now is to calculate this forecast and then run our solver. So for our forecast, we want to enter a formula here, equals, and then we want G1, our home edge, but we need to put a $sign in front of the 1, plus. And now we want to use a new function called VLOOKUP. So VLOOKUP. And what do we want it to look up? We want it to look up the home team. And where do we want it to look it up? We want it to look it up over here. So we want to highlight these teams and their ratings all the way down to the bottom. And again, we need to put a $sign in front of the 3 and in front of the 34. And what column do we want it to look up in? Well, of the highlighted cells, it's the second column. And we want it to be an exact match, so we're going to type in false. So that's adding the home team's rating, but then we need to subtract the away team's rating. So we need another VLOOKUP. And again, we're going to look up the away team. We're going to look it up in that same range. So J $3 to K $34. Again, the second column, and again, false. And we need, we can just hit enter there, and then we can copy that all the way down. One last thing before we move to the last part of the video, which will be on a new video. We want to sum up these squared errors. So at the top here, we're going to do equals sum, and then we can just highlight all of these squared errors. I'm actually going to stop a little bit before the bottom though. I'm going to stop at this last regular season game. Okay. Close the parentheses and hit enter. And there's the sum of my squared error. We'll look at another video now how to calculate those ratings.